Hi guys, you've already seen the title, so let's not waste time. We've got like 15 hacks to cover, so let's get started.
King of the road, trailer for sailoring. Man, trailer for sailoring. Ain't got
First is the least discussed hack of all time, which is to go window shopping. So guys, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि window dressing is the best way to train your personal style muscle. Like just imagine you're legit walking into a playground where you have all the clothes that you get to try at your convenience in different colors, in shapes, to be able to see in different lighting how you will look, to be able to do like an entire photo shoot of yours and do like back-to-back clothing changes, wear them and return them with zero commitment that you have to purchase any of them, or you even have to fold and put them back. Yeah, no app, no filter, no e-commerce can give you the experience of being able to try different clothes on yourself and decide for yourself by developing an internal GPS so that in future you're able to do unlikely combinations and always win. Next step is to find a tailor. So girls, once you've actually returned from like your window shopping experience, taken pictures, gotten some observations of what makes you look good and what you would want to look like, maybe you can actually just create like a mood board on Pinterest, take your pictures and then go to a tailor. So with a good Master G, you can literally pick your mom's old sari and turn it into something better than a label wear. Made exactly to your size, shape and preference. You save money, look original and the fit is always perfect. Even the Bollywood girls do this. Their tailors detail every stitch to the T. All you really need to do is to follow their path. Skip the label, trust the Master G and look like $1,000,000 without spending them. So this is the lehenga which I got stitched. This is actually made from the puja ka kapda that I got as Ashirwad ka darshan. See this? So I Pinterested, but I didn't want the big princess flare you see in these pictures. I asked the tailor to work with a 3-meter puja ka kapda, added some elements and look, I got this exactly for my body type and occasion. More than the money, it's just exactly what I wanted and still within budget. So almost all of us who do not fit into the unrealistic frame of 36, 24, 36, especially for festive dressing, tend to gravitate towards picking clothes that make us look more in an H frame. So all these kurtas that you will see in like a West Side or a Fab India will have like a block like this. The purpose with which we pick it up is to hide like our belly fat and stuff, but the problem arises because eventually in the pursuit of hiding just some parts, you are making the entire frame look like a choco-block. For you to be able to look more feminine, graceful, lean, tall, the idea is to move from this frame of an H to this frame of an A. The trick is to push the tip of A as high and as tightly as possible. That spot right under your boobs is actually the narrowest part on your body. That's why your silhouette should start, not mid-waist, not hips, right here. When the flare opens from that point, it balances your proportions and instantly lengthens your frame. It works for everything. Dressy, saris, lehengas, kurtas and even basic fits. No shapewear, no filters, just smarter stitching and placement. Now for you to be able to move from an H frame to an A frame, you will need to ensure that whatever you wear from bust up, be it the material you wear, the fit that you keep, needs to be extremely well fitted and body hugging so that at least the upper part of your body, which is controlled, looks very graceful, and the material that you pick for below will always needs to be very light, free flowing and airy so that it just flows and makes you look longer, leaner and better. So think of your top like your fitted tee. It should hug till right under the bust. From there, keep everything breezy and light so the flare opens clean. Add a belt only if the top is firm. If the top is loose, the belt just bulks and shifts. Choose materials that have a bit of stretch or structure. They grip without wrinkling and hold the A-line even when you move. For the bottom, lighter weaves or semi-sheer layers work best. They fall naturally and don't puff up with movement. Skip extra layers underneath because more cloth is more girth and less A-line. This tight start, free flow formula is made for Indian fits. Saris, lehengas, kurtas, all of it. Tight top, light bottom works like a dream for Indian clothes on every body shape and size. Everyone keeps saying that if you want a more structured top or an hourglass illusion, add a jacket, a shrug or a koti. But honestly, it never made sense to me. Like, why would you wear another layer to look leaner? And unless you live in a super fashion forward circle or in an air conditioned bubble, how do you even explain wearing layers in Indian weather? So instead of adding bulk, I started thinking, what if you build the same structure within the top itself? Like this top, for example. It's cropped and flared till the bust, but fitted like a corset underneath. That tight hold covers belly fat, defines the midriff, and shapes the waist, all without a single extra layer. And you can always mix textures. The upper flare in something dressy like brocade or satin, and the fitted base in t-shirt material for stretch and comfort. If you want to try this for the season, just pair a fitted lycra gunji under a flared top, or get one made by your tailor if you've got some time on hand. Same illusion, half the heat, and 10 times the style. Now is illusion engineering. So most people think that loose or oversized helps blur shape. But large prints or big design elements, anything bigger than an inch or two, actually break your body line and make you look way wider. Even if the neckline is open to show femininity, the moment the fabric starts floating instead of following your form, the hourglass illusion disappears. So here's the trick. If you're on the curvier side, go for body-hugging silhouettes in solid colors or very fine prints. A fitted stretchable kurta in one tone can visually streamline your entire frame way more than flowy busy pattern ever could. Think of it like optical design. Smaller prints tighten the visual grid, tighter fits compress the outline, and the body instantly looks more balanced. And a tiny bonus tip, buy one size smaller than the usual if the material has stretch. It'll sit like second skin, move with you, and feel tailored without actually even being tight. As a rule, do not let anything end on your thighs. Not a kurta, sharara top, not a jacket or koti. Like it's not rocket science. Shorter lengths instantly make you look stouter and cut the flow of your frame. But more than that, it's literally the Uno reverse of the A-line silhouette we spoke so much about. Most of us are widest around the upper thighs, so when your outfit ends right there, you're basically highlighting your broadest point instead of the narrowest one, the area right under the bust. Once that demarcation damage is done, no amount of sharara, flowy pants or tallest heels can fix the proportion. So you have three options. 1. Cinch right under the bust and let the silhouette fall from there. 2. Balance your proportion with structured layers or well-fitted seams up top. Or 3. Go all tight, which I'm going to talk about next. Whatever you pick, just make sure that the lower half of the area that all of us struggle with stays monochrome, seamless and flowy. That is the trick to a long, lean and elegant frame. Okay, controversial opinion, but after the A-line, a full body con silhouette is your next best friend. You see, when the fabric hugs your shape evenly, it sculpts your frame instead of hiding it. Even if it's a bit of chub that shows, it reads as fitted, intentional and high effort. Think of it as optical engineering. The tighter the outline, the cleaner the vertical lines your eye follows, the taller and more defined you look. And here's the real trick. Take a cue from the high slit bodycon dresses. Add a high side slit that cuts straight up to your waist curve. It breaks the monotony, adds movement and reveals depth through your natural shape. The easiest way to pull this off? Well, just go hunting for t-shirt material dressy fabric, hand your tailor a well-fitted bodycon dress as reference and have them recreate it with high side slits. It's the broke girl version of a designer illusion, which is structured, sleek and stitched to your absolute exact shape. A cinch belt is honestly the most underrated styling tool. It lets you decide where your body divides and acts like a magnetic center that holds every loose end together. You can stitch it right into your outfit, like inside a lehenga, summer dress or choli. Like even a simple tie at the back can create the perfect anchor. Or go one step further with a proper thick belt around your midriff. It shapes your waist, doubles as shapewear and grips your sari pleats like iron. The catch, you'll probably have to DIY it or get it tailored, because most belts I found online happen to be flimsy cloth ones that either roll up or snap under the pleats. You see the difference? Without it, the pleats float and the drape feels untamed. With a cinch belt underneath, the pleats lock in, the waist defines itself and the whole sari starts moving on with your body instead of against it. Everything structured, tucked and perfectly sculpted. So your neckline is basically upper body contouring. How much you choose to show in terms of depth will depend upon how busty you are. Say if you're someone who's very busty, going deeper is just going to show a higher cleavage, which eventually just takes away attention from everywhere else. Also, if you're not very busty, you can totally go deeper so that it actually shows more depth and definition, something that Alia Bhatt does very often. Also, unless you're like really lean, do not really risk widening the neckline much, because the more you do it, it will actually just take away from the shoulder blades, make your upper body add like a lot of weight and width. Unpopular opinion, necklaces sort of make you look a little unflattering.
It's because most necklaces sit right on the collarbone, cutting the neck visually shorter and pulling focus to the roundness of your face. All that detail around the neckline traps light there, so any fullness or double chin gets highlighted even more. But when you keep your neck bare, it opens up that space, makes the neck look longer, the jawline sharper, and the whole body look instantly more elevated.
Also, if you must wear something in your neck, then wear something soft, thin and not very tight. Something that falls very gracefully, that just creates like a little bit of bling.
So girls, I don't know what you're going through in life, but never wear these sleeves. They just make you look like you've gotten out of your pajamas, just put on whatever you found and you've come. Not it.
Sleeves are not just fabric, they're strategy. So whether you want to look festive, feminine or leaner, body-hugging firm sleeves will always win. Notice how every designer bride or couture look has structure. Padded shoulders, defined seams or embroidered sleeve ends that draw the eye vertically. It's deliberately done because it shapes posture and elongates your frame. Loose or floppy sleeves just make the arms look heavier and pull your outfit down. Even a simple fitted sleeve ending a few inches above your elbow balances your proportions instantly. Go sleeveless or halter only when your outfit needs breathing space on top, like a heavy sari or a layered lehenga. But otherwise, sculpted sleeves are quite the power move of every great outfit. A neatly placed dupatta can literally cut your upper body width by half. When it's draped close to your neck and chest line, it draws the eye inward, creating one long vertical line that makes you look slimmer, taller, and instantly more polished. But the moment you wear it like a bed sheet, flat across the shoulders covering everything, it kills your shape. You stop looking graceful and start looking shapeless. In films, they use this drape for a reason, to make the heroine look sad, helpless or invisible. Instead, tuck it near your neck and let it fall along the A-line, cinched right under your bust, so it frames your curves instead of hiding them. It defines your upper body, highlights your waist and gives that graceful feminine illusion, all without needing extra jewelry or extra structure.
The same principle that we follow for dupatta needs to apply for the sari pallu or the lehenga pallu also.
When you let the pallu fall loose like here, it instantly softens the whole outfit. The fabric spreads out, hides your shape and look goes away from being styled to slightly unfinished. It's not about size, it's about structure. A loose drape reads casual, gathered one reads intentional. The moment you pin and organize a pallu neatly on the shoulder, it adds height, symmetry and that high effort polish. The lines fall clean, the outfit moves with your body and it suddenly looks couture instead of everyday. For heavier saris or lehengas, start your pleats narrow at the bust and then let them open as they fall. That balance keeps the drape elegant yet powerful. A pinned pallu is not about looking thinner, but it's about looking more styled. One pin and you go from wearing a sari to owning it.
You need to do more and more things that actually bring most amount of attention to your face. Be it through your hair, your makeup, accessories, jewelries. Just make sure that you do not do all of it to play main character energy. If you actually select one focus feature, say statement earrings or say you're doing up your eyes, just stick to that. Make sure that the rest of the elements just effortlessly become great portrait backgrounds to highlight these features instead of just fighting for attention, each one of them. So another controversial opinion, large earrings make your face look chubbier. Cuts the neck ka length short, makes your double chin stand out and makes you look a lot chubbier than you are.
So those big statement jhumkas look gorgeous on the shelves or on models with ostrich necks. But for the rest of us, they throw the face off balance. You see, when the earrings fall longer than your neck, they drag the face down and take away that structured, lifted look. Medium length ones work best. They add like movement without overwhelming your features. Keep your hair tied in a bun or pony or a side pin up to open up the neckline. Or if you're keeping it open, go smaller so it frames your face neatly instead of crowding it. Earrings should shape your face and not stretch it.
Behind a screen on a photoshopped model in a controlled setting, everything looks great. But things change when you become the model and it becomes your setting.
For the kind of importance your face and makeup hold in any festive look, the biggest piece of advice I can share is this: learn it offline. Pick your shades and techniques one-to-one with an expert and not through any filter or tutorial. At a good makeup store, you can test foundation shades, learn how to hide your flaws, and discover what colors actually make your features stand out, all for free. Our skin changes every few months, be it tone, texture, and how makeup sits, so your routine should evolve as well. Go out, ask questions, test and learn, because the best glow comes from knowing what truly works on you. Your face.
हम आपको बेस्ट प्रोडक्ट सजेस्ट करेंगे, सो दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. यू कम टू स्टोर एंड बाय.
Yes, very important. Otherwise, मेरे को शेड्स कहाँ से पता चलेंगे कि कौन से खरीदने हैं. Looking effortlessly attractive in festive season takes a lot of effort. But the results, believe me, for the amount of attention that you'll get, it's all worth it. And that was the video, guys. Our full list of 15 Desi fashion hacks, leaving you with some of my fondest memories from Navratri and Puja that just went by. Wishing you the brightest and most blessed festive season. I'll see you in the next one.